Ndala! So today I want to talk about waist beads. So every summer, when the summer is approaching, the spring is here, people get wrapped up, and lately it has been a little bit trendy for waist bead to be all around. And so I get this question quite often, and I wanted to just clear a bit of the air with all of that, because sometimes people get caught up in trends and they lose the sacred spiritualness of things, that sometimes we need to remind them in order for them to have a different perspective. So basically, waist beads are being used throughout Africa for different various purposes. Some of them use them to control their weight. They use them to ensure some sacredness, some purity, to connect with the husband or loving partner. It can be also given to younger girls as a rite of passage. It can also be blessed. Usually it is blessed by the person who's giving it to you. It's usually something that's done internal within the family, or that you can see someone who's doing that with the spiritual sense out of it, who's making the beads, putting the intention within the beads and all that good stuff. Now, the only thing that for me is kind of pressing is that usually the caveat with all of that, all of this waist, people wearing waist beads and all different things, is that in the traditional sense, waist beads are only for certain eyes to see. They're not rings and necklaces and all these kind of things that for everyone to see and all of that. The potency of waist beads lies really in the fact that it is on a part of the body that's usually not exposed. It is also, so that means because it's not exposed, it is basically kept into darkness, where the intention set in there can continue to grow and bloom. So sometimes a husband and a wife will have her a set of beads that she gets when she gets married, and those beads are actually being kept only for her husband's eyes to see, and that ties into creating and supporting the bond between her and her husband, so that he's the only one not just seeing her body but also seeing the beads, what color the beads are, what kind of beads were being used, how many beads are on there. So it's all of the sacredness, the secrecy between the husband and the wife on that particular context. Sometimes it is also when a girl is becoming a woman, that her mother will give her beads, the waist beads, and then she will put on those waist beads to celebrate her womanhood. And those waist beads, again, it would be going to be told to her that the waist bead, just like her womb, need to be kept in darkness and in secrecy, so that the intention that she has for this waist bead, whether it is to get married or to accomplish certain things, remains in the darkness where it is most potent. So this is to say that, when people are asking me, as like, I don't really see the value of having waist beads where they're being exposed and shown to everybody and to everyone. Some people may have beads that are specifically made to be shown, which the intention is very different, the energy is going to be also very different, and the bead is going to be exposed to the light, we're going to be exposed to the sight of other people, and it will have a very different energy to it, rather than the beads that are being kept potent with all of the potency in the darkness and underneath your clothes. And you can even tell this kind of how different the energy is, as opposed to the energy that's curtailed to you, that's working on your own intention, and the other form of energy that's much more meant to attract attention from others, to attract energies to you when you are exposing them. Just like, there's a difference when you have your little necklace and you have it under your shirt that nobody knows and nobody sees, which is doing something for you, and when you have that necklace and you have it exposed, when it's actually bringing things from the external instead of within without. When you have it exposed, it's going to be within. So when the attention that people are going to give you are going to permeate within you if you're not shielded. So when you're having a little shirt and a little crop top and your waist beads are showing, that attention, the people looking at you, the energy that they're going to be sending to you are going to be attracted by those beads actually. And I think this is a part that people don't actually necessarily pay attention to. You know, you can have people or entities or energies attracted and attaching to your waist beads when they are all out in the open. So it's just things to consider and to understand, because if you don't know the history and what it was used for, which normally you should, every time you're being offered something, you should do a little bit of research on your own just to make sure that you know what is going on these other levels, not just the physical levels where you have a really pretty ring but has some negative energy into it, or even sometimes some entities attached to it. So that's why a lot of people will clear any jewelry they bring into their home just to make sure that whatever energy they don't want is not coming into their sacred space. So the same for the waist bead. Usually it was a long process where the person who was making the beads sometimes was also making the pearls, looking for the pearls, sometimes adding cowrie shells and other type of shells and jewelry to it. So it was a long process where you basically come and voice the intention to have the beads, and that this person is usually a spiritual person, a healer, and so forth and so on, someone who was kind of dedicated to that, working their craft into that, would set the intention into that. That when they're actually presenting you with the beads, it's a unique pair of waist bead, if you'd like. It's going to be a unique set of beads for you only, that no one else will have seen, no one else will have had the same intention into that. And so when you're getting them with the person made them with the specific intention that you had in mind, that you needed, or and so forth and so on. And then when you're using it to keep that potency, you first of all, you retain that intention to yourself. You know, you're not going to be spilling to everybody what's the waist bead all about, because that's also going to be shedding and losing some of that potency, because you're exposing it to the light, you're exposing it now to having, you know, starting to attract different things to you that are not necessarily conducive. So it's something that you keep to yourself. So that means if you're using your waist bead to also monitor your weight, which is an additional functional tool that you can have, functional aspect of the beads. But essentially, it is not meant for that. It is really meant for you to be able to have that intention, and those intention be set in the darkness with the potency in order for it to work as it was planned. So I know that the summer is coming on, and there's been now a trend with people, you know, wanting to wear waist bead and explore them. Some people even taking waist beads and wrapping them around their wrist and so forth and so on. And I'm not saying don't do it. I say if you want to do it, but just know that it's deviating from some of the original purposes that had to that. And also know that if you didn't know the potency that they have, it's good to research that and to experience it for yourself, so you can see actually how much of an impact it can have on your own spirituality and on your own development, in terms of it's also, if you want to shield yourself and have those beads with that intention, that's an additional form of shielding that you can have all the time without anyone knowing, and without even you having to resort to salt or doing other things, because they will be on you. And the beads are often made in such a way that you don't have to take them off. You can, you know, take your shower and everything like that, and they won't come off, and there won't be that much wear and tear. You can keep them for years and years and years. Of course, you can use them in different contexts. I can go on and on. You can bless them for a child, you can bless them for a friend, you can bless them for your husband can bless yours as well. So there's different ways that those tools can be used to increase intimacy between two people, to increase affection and relations between two people, to also acknowledge a step of life when it's a rite of passage, and so on. And nowadays, depending on where you're going, some people are adding different other natural elements to it. Crystals are being added now to waist beads. I just will say to be a little bit careful, because if you're going to have crystals all the time on you, it may also have it has some positive and also has some negative impact to consider, especially depending on which stones you are adding, the amount of them, and how you're experiencing with having them around your body. Also the same thing if you are pregnant, for the waist beads. You may be able to put them lower. You may have waist beads that are made for you just for the moment of during your pregnancy, so you can bond with the child, and so forth and so on. So the potency of waist bead is really, really important, and I just hope that with all of the spring coming and the summer, that you kind of reflect also as to the spiritual meaning behind it, and how that spiritual purpose can actually support you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.